Tonight we have one of the Glick boys from Salem's Lot.
Let me in, I'm all better now.
Welcome to the edge of nowhere. They're playing games at the edges of what we know. Monster Lore Tour Podcast. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this monstrous 91st episode of the Monster Lore Tour Paranormal Deep Dives from the Edge of Nowhere Podcast. 2025 Halloween Special. I am your host, Jeremy Carr, here along with my co-host and the Jamie Lee Curtis to my Michael Myers. I might be blending realities there. Mr. Matt Ozero, a.k.a. the Moz. How we doing today, Moz?
I think it would be Jamie Lee Curtis to my Adrian Barbeau. I think that's more us.
Ooh,
Yeah.
That's a sexy couple right
There
there.
you go.
Isn't it?
They were both in what movie? Of course, Alex Bone's
The
going to get this.
Fog.
Oh, you even got, yeah.
I'm more Tom Skerritt, I think.
He's cute. He's cute.
And sitting
You're
in
bringing
today, sitting in as a special guest co-host
He's
today.
a looker.
We are ensconced in Bone Manor again for this recording session. So we have Alex Bone at a microphone.
Yes, I am here. We are at Bone Manor, here in lovely Tucson, Arizona, at the base of the mountains.
It is lovely today, too. This is the first time I've been here in a while where it's like actually really nice outside and not hot.
Could you guys stop talking for a minute? Tom Atkins, not Tom Skerritt. Why did we just keep talking?
Good catch, Moz.
Tom Skerritt. You mashing us right now? What are you doing?
Okay. Anyhow.
Have you never seen Alien?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah. There
Game
you go.
over, man. Oh,
So,
that's aliens. Okay.
So this is actually, Moz, our third Halloween in existence as a podcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So I'm going to give you
actually.
just a little bit of a history here. Our first Halloween, we were still new.
Yeah.
And episode 8 actually released on October 31st
Wow.
of 2023. That was actually Moz's Shapeshifters Shift Happens episode.
Wow.
It just so happened to fall on Halloween because we
Nice.
pre-recorded a bunch of episodes
Mhm.
and then released and like didn't even realize that something was falling right on Halloween, like right
Nice.
away like that. So it just so happened to be our Halloween episode.
Which is it's a good one.
And then last year, our Halloween episode released on October 29th, 2024. That was an interview episode
Yeah.
with friend of the podcast, Sharon, who's been a practicing witch for like 40 plus years or something like that now, like pretty much her whole life.
Victorian Moon, downtown Flagstaff.
So really cool for Halloween, that
Yeah.
interview, but a different kind of episode for the Monster Lore Tour,
Yeah.
so now this year, I'm going to bring you a more traditional,
Christmas.
in a general sense, but still not traditional MLT sense, Halloween episode of a different kind.
Ooh.
See that? So I'm keeping a variety in it for the holiday special is basically what's going on. But this is a mashup of stories taken from various sources, but primarily,
Tom Skerritt then.
pretty much the whole episode is going to be from old newspaper articles from chroniclingamerica.com, which is the Library of Congress's old newspaper page.
Mm-hmm.
Goes up to 1963 and goes like way
67
back.
or something. Like that.
I checked it this time, 1963. But I was talking about it in my last episode with Winnie Ruth Judd, and I kind of wanted to, it got me on a kick. So almost this whole episode comes from there.
Nice.
But it's going to take us through various aspects of lore on ghosts and really ultimately hauntings, like different ways of being haunted, of haunting, being haunted, all that stuff.
Like when you forget ice at Alex Bone's house, you get haunted.
There you go. And I had to go to Circle K and make an extra trip because I
Or
always
strange
forget
things
the ice.
are afoot.
I remember going into the store that I need ice. I never remember on the way out. I think a lot of people have this problem.
You reminded
with
me. I'm the one who forgot. Really.
I've shared my hauntings with this podcast.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
And on a general level, in theory, I've experienced 20 plus paranormal events that would fall most easily in the haunting.
And yet
category.
you're the skeptic here.
Well,
Exactly.
and again, I'm going to throw out my thoughts,
Sure.
which
After every story, we will discuss all the lore and theory
we
and
can't
thoughts
discuss
and all
witches.
I
This is
would
Halloween
like
episode.
to put this out there before we start.
that. Okay.
That my personal theory on hauntings, other than the people that, are faking or whatever, is to conceptualize what is happening is, in fact, the person's mind who's witnessing it. If anything supernatural, if objects are moving, I have of the mind that is the person experiencing the event moving the objects far more likely than an actual ghost doing it. So I attribute the supernatural things to the living person's human psyche. I mean, maybe someone could even see spirits moving in the past. I would almost find that more likely than ghosts moving. I'm just throwing that out there before we start.
So that's Bone's theoretical base then. Okay.
No, I'm glad you clarified that.
We'll get more in that. That'll apply mostly to the poltergeisty section that we'll have today, I think. But yeah, I can dig where you're coming from there. That's good. And we will discuss these all individually as we go as well.
All right.
In separate rooms with our microphones.
And it's a lot of different things. Like some of them, it's not what you think, and some of them get debunked at the end. And so you're not really, it's hard to know where each story is going to go till you get there too. So it's pretty cool. All right. So one of the heydays of ghost stories was the 1880s. Huge in the ghosts and big paranormally kind of time. And, we like going old school here at MLT sometimes. MOZ goes all the way back to the Middle Ages and beyond. You've gone back to like prehistory and stuff.
Are you making fun of my age again?
Well,
It's true.
So I went to the 1800s internet, or what we used to call newspapers back in the 20th century, and looked specifically at Halloween season in 1885. It was a very fruitful search, let me tell you. Like there was almost more than, like I found a few good ones and was like, man, look at all this stuff. It was crazy. I could have gone on, I could make episode after episode just from the 1880s newspapers on ghost stories. But this first one, I narrowed it down, and I am gonna try to cover all the different angles of ghosts and hauntings and things, so we have different things to talk about with each story. But this first one is going to have some unexpected lore attached to it, MOZ and Bone.
Right.
So pay attention here and see what we can pick up on, because this is something maybe a little completely different. I wanted to set the tone. Okay, so this is the actual headline I found. The newspaper article is from the New Hampshire Patriot, October 1st, 1885, Thursday. October 1st, 1885. But the story is actually out of Russia. And two weird stories under the same headline. Headline, Superstition in Russia. 2 curious cases of superstition are reported from Russia. The other day, a coffin was seen floating in the Dniester. That's a river, and can't say it right, so pardon me. It was brought ashore and found to contain the corpse of a man whose feet had been cut off. A peasant explains the case as follows. His uncle, having died sometime previously, several peasants claimed to have seen his ghost walking about. And an old woman predicted that there would be no rain while the corpse remained in the cemetery. So it was dug out, the feet cut off to prevent the ghost from walking about, and the coffin set adrift on the river. The second case shows that the belief in witchcraft still exists. A great drought in Chesterton was attributed to the evil agency of 2 women who were regarded as witches. They were officially called upon to produce rain by June 17th, and when this failed, they were ducked in the river. The witches seemed to enjoy this and remarked that now she would refuse rain altogether. This raised such a disturbance among the populace that the women had to be protected by the police. I love that story so much, I have to admit. But let's do the first one first, and then we'll get back to what ducking might mean, because I have questions. But let's do the floating coffin in the river. So chopping off the feet. Yeah. I'm going to ask Moz this question first, and then let's see if Bone has something to say on it. Chopping off the feet of the corpse to keep the ghost from walking around. Is that how that works?
I mean, if it's a zombie.
But it's not. It's a ghost, though, right?
Yeah.
The corpse didn't come up out of the grave.
Yeah, it seems like you got to try something. Like, we don't know how to keep you're supposed to stake down things and burn
gotta try
shit.
Something. Fair enough.
But that's for vampires. If it's a zombie, I think if we had buried our dead all these years that way, there'd be no zombie movies.
Huh.
Yeah.
Bone?
First,
I don't know how to follow that.
First off, I'll point out that footless zombies can be more dangerous because they crawl at you low and can hide under bushes easier and come up behind you. You're looking for all the zombies, but they're all down low. Not necessarily safer. Yeah.
Good point.
Point number 2. The chances of this ghost walking out of the cemetery, when does that ever even happen? How many ghosts are just roaming free? Ghosts are always like, it's in the pantry. It's old Martha. She comes out with a birthday cake once a year for her dead daughter. It's never just like, I was going to Circle K and whoops, ghost.
Just wandering around.
Yeah, so I think the chances of that are minimal, but I do believe that if you chop off its feet, you 100% eliminate it.
Okay. All right. Supporting the theory on that end. And what about the other part of that story with the seer lady saying there won't be any rain until the corpse is out of the cemetery, so they float it down the river? So the whole get it out of the cemetery so it can rain again part. But then there's did they put it in the river just because it was the easiest way to get rid of the body and get away with it? Or did they put it in the river because there's some significance to actually floating it away on water rather than like having it on land?
Well, I mean, back to mythology, you've got the Osiris, Noah, the whole, put someone powerful. They're usually with feet and alive, and they're the baby that survives and then comes back, like Superman or Noah or Osiris.
If I may, I'm going to go back to New England ghost mythology, which included vampires. Spirits of the dead are unable to cross rivers. So if you put in the middle of the river, can't go east or west, you're done. Took care of it. Moving on.
There you go.
Yeah.
So the river itself is significant there.
Yeah.
I was curious about that. Okay, good. So the second story, I love this. So they blame the witches for it not raining. They pick a couple women to call witches and blame them for it not raining. And then they tell them, now you have to make it rain. And when it doesn't rain, they, quote unquote, duck them in the river. Does anyone have any insight on what ducking a witch in a river might be?
I watched The Holy Grail, and they took this witch, Connie Booth, because she wasn't to weigh the same amount as a duck, and they threw her into the pond.
Right.
Yep.
But I thought they just drowned them. Like this woman survived it and was like, "Screw you guys, no rain for you."
I know what ducking is.
Nice. I thought Bone might have something.
Well, there was a duck.
No. It's sort of like waterboarding, but medieval style. They just attach you to a crane, dunk you underwater, lift the crane up. I mean, they have cranes. They're unloading ships. I mean, there was steam by then.
Sure.
You just dunk them in.
Splash them down.
It's like a
onto
mechanical
splash them face first into the water.
Witch baptism. And, you hold them down there and like, do you repent and love Jesus now?
It's like a dunk tank retrofitted for a torture device.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have something to add to that. There's some truth as to why they would be blaming the witches, because historically there's people of power, shamans and witches and folks are supposed to be able to change the weather, and that goes back thousands of years, and that's pretty consistent throughout the folklore. So if you have someone declaring themselves to be a being of power in your area and you have a drought, that is the person you would go to and bring that person to Bedivere.
Yeah, the shaman is the one who brings the rain. Yeah, you find that witches all over the place.
Very not that dissimilar. I mean, not as many stories.
They become that role when you have no one else. They're the ones you turn to, right?
Well, yeah, and I
even
think
in anger, even
Europe
if it's
was
in anger.
more. I think it was shamanic initially. There's not a lot of evidence of that, but as much evidence. But there is certainly a significant amount of evidence. But witches did fill that role after Sean, So I would say that it was their fault, and they deserve what they got.
All right.
No, I'm not. I know I'm being facetious, but there is a reason why they blame them.
So the first haunting there, the witches kind of fell into it incidentally. The haunting thing. So if you got a ghost wandering around, try cutting off the feet of the corpse. That's interesting.
Yep.
That was the first thing we learned. All right, so this next story, the headline came from the Home Advocate in Farmerville, Louisiana, Friday, October 2nd, 1885. So this was literally the next day in going from New Hampshire to Louisiana, so going all the way down the East Coast for the next day. This is a story of a rather unique sort of haunting under the headline, An Avenging Nemesis. John Throckmorton, son of the former proprietor of the Galt House in Louisville, Kentucky, received a liberal education, and when his father took the Galt House, made friends among the young sports of the town. One day, it was noticed that wherever he went, a woman in shabby black and closely veiled followed him. The next day, when she appeared at his heels, the whole city began to talk about it, and in less than a week, even the street boys could tell you the history of Throckmorton's ghost. I have often seen the pair on the streets of Louisville, he in advance, erect, with an expression of half defiance, half shame on his face. She slinking along close at his heels with downcast head and veiled face. The history of the 20 years that she followed him would fill a volume. He tried in vain to rid himself of her, journeying for the purpose several times around the globe. His nemesis would hunt him out. Once, when he found himself alone with her in a dark street, he turned fiercely and drew his knife. "Curse you!" he cried. "I'll have your life!" The ghost faced him unshrinkingly and, lifting her veil, said, "You may kill me, John, but kiss me first." With an oath, he turned from her and fled, and the next day she was arrested on a writ of lunatico de inquiriendo and brought into court. Oh. There's a twist. Her trial attracted widespread attention, and when she took the stand in her own defense, the courtroom was crowded to suffocation. In a clear, firm voice, she told her story, and strong men were affected to tears at the recital. "Years ago," she said, "John Throckmorton deceived me. I begged him to repair the wrong, and he drove me from him. I determined to teach him contrition, and for 20 years I have followed him, an avenging nemesis." The jury pronounced her sane, and she disappeared from view. John went into the army as an aide on General Bragg's staff, and after the surrender settled on a plantation in Yazoo County, Mississippi. He died there several years ago. I think the ghost died about the same time. They brought her into court and trying to say she was crazy. And she told her story, and everyone in the courtroom was just like, "She's fine. Let her go. That guy's a bastard." She turned everyone against him in the end. Well, after following him around literally like a shadow for 20 years.
I'm going to defer to Bone on
How
this one,
crazy is
but
that?
I just want to add, we heard some Latin, we heard some adverbs, so it's dubious.
Okay.
I was going to mention the adverb in the middle. Really?
It was a Latin adverb, if I'm not
really
Well, it was-
lowered.
You got to remember, this is the 1880s too, so it's very flourishy kind of language.
Yeah.
Like
Flowery.
inherently.
Okay. That didn't happen. And
Well,
that's
they're not even saying she was actually a ghost. It's a real
No.
woman. Followed him around
No.
for
Who's
20
gonna do
years.
that? Yeah.
no, and you're going to wait
Who's
20
funding her?
years. Oh, there's a woman following me around. She's real. I'm over here at the bakery. I'm at the brewery. Oh, she's following me around. After 20 years, though, I've had enough. Dumbest thing I've ever heard. Didn't happen at all.
No, wait. It does sound like your ex-wife, though. It sounds a little bit like if my current wife and his ex-wife were a demon.
If that ever really happened,
I hope
You-
it's true.
no, that don't date that person.
Oh yeah, no. But I mean, it's on if it's on court record and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't
That's what-
believe it.
I agree that the court record piece, but I guess there's the piece of that, the
Maybe
yellow
the 20
journalism
years
piece.
thing is getting overblown
They're
and
trying to sell
following them
newspapers
literally
back
around
then.
the globe multiple times and stuff.
It doesn't. Who's funding this little adventure? And again, why would you wait so long? We all want to tell the joke. Who's going to wait 20 years? That you spend
Maybe-
your whole life and then in an alley.
Maybe he did some really, really bad things and was so afraid to face his demons he couldn't even do
But
it.
then she would have just killed him.
Oh no, he would have been
there's so much
boning her.
better.
Come on, like you're in India, you're traveling worldwide, and she's like outside. You're like, we might as well do it. I would. She's following you around, like you're just gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna eat these crackers and go to bed. Like, might as well bring her in here. What the hell? I mean, she's following me around anyway.
Bone likes to bang his demons.
Yeah. I've done it before.
That took an unexpected twist.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
She will suck your bus.
Moving on. For this next creepy tale, we head north to South Dakota to hear a story out of Oregon, because that's how it works. The newspaper's out of South Dakota, but the story's from Oregon. This is the 19th century version of the internet, where the good stories got reposted all over the place, kind of thing. And this one is a more traditional kind of ghost story. And see what Bone thinks about this one at the end. All right, so this is from the Herald out of Big Stone, South Dakota. Same day, Friday, October 2nd, 1885. I'm telling you, the papers were rife with this stuff back then.
Yeah.
Rife with it. It really did kind of remind me of the internet in a way. The headline here is Spooks of Memaloose Island. On a lonely little island called Memaloose in the Columbia River, 16 miles before the Dalles and about 100 from Portland, Oregon, lie bleaching the bones of thousands of Wasco and Klickitat Indians. The island, further back than reaches the memory of the oldest pioneer, has been a burial place for the dead of these tribes. Boxes of bones and grisly skeletons lying prone upon the ground may be seen on every hand. Here, Mulatoeak, Pauhensha, and other chiefs sleep their last sleep. On the death of any of the Indians, they are wrapped in their finest blankets, adorned with trinkets and trappings, and wafted over the water in canoes to the island, on the surface of which the corpses are placed and left face upward. Here they remain in the open air until wind and rain and birds of prey have done their work, and the bones lay ghastly and white. Then they are gathered and dumped miscellaneously into boxes, some of which hold a bushel, while in others a cord can be stowed. In these rude sarcophagi they are supposed to remain until the last trumpet calls. But as a matter of fact, every young doctor and every collector of fossils ambitious to increase the size of his cabinet hies himself thence for a skeleton. Still, there are bones to spare. A strange freak was that of Victor Trevitt, a talented man of the Dalles who had held some of the higher offices in Oregon. He died about a year since, prior to which he made an earnest request to be buried on this desolate rock-ribbed island. His are the only remains of a white man interred there. Ghosts are now said to flit to and fro among the dome-like rocks, striking terror to the lonely boatmen and the few gardeners along the banks of the Columbia. They tell blood-curdling stories of having seen several times, just after nightfall, the form of a wan-looking white man, arrayed in white, striding hither and thither among the skeletons, and of the ghostly form of a stalwart Indian, astride a black pony, galloping among the outstretched bones and bodies. Judge O.S. Savage of Wasco County is reported among others as having at divers times seen glimmering lights and weird forms among the trees and rocks there. The people in the vicinity have grown so superstitious of the spooks of Memaloose Island that they cannot be persuaded to visit it after nightfall. If obliged to do so during the day, each carries with him an armory to defend himself against the hobgoblins. What with weird lights, dark shadows, and romping spooks, the lonely island has grown more dreadful than the traditional locality of the Witch of Endor. That's a biblical reference.
Yeah.
So I did write it down, subnote Witch of Endor.
She was divination. She was,
yeah, I have a quote here. In the Concordance and Subject Index of the Bible, you will find Witch of Endor. The Witch of Endor practiced witchcraft. Witchcraft is forbidden by the God of heaven. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live, Exodus 22:18, are the words of the Lord of hosts. She was a witch. A witch has a familiar spirit, and evil spirit, the spirit of the devil.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Nice.
So she's like the original witch from the Bible, basically.
That's why we don't let them in Tucson, as I mentioned earlier.
Right.
All right, but have you heard of Memaloose Island at all, Moz?
I don't know.
I've never heard of it.
I've been near it. I was offered a job in Hermisted, but I refused it because everyone in the entire town had scabies.
Wow. Is that a true story?
Okay,
yes,
then.
it is a true story.
Yeah. Were they?
Wow. I might have to bleep the name of town so we don't get sued.
Yeah.
Hermisted. Hermisted. And another thing about Moz's shirt, Hermisted.
But back to our story, please, gentlemen. So a white man, I'm going to go straight to this. A white man getting his bones interred on a burial island for the local indigenous tribe. What were his reasons? Like, and I'm wondering, like, they said he held high office in the state. Was he like scoffing at them, or was he idolizing them, or did he like really make some sort of inherent connection to the tribe where he felt like, you know, he was family with a lot of tribal members and felt like it was okay, and they maybe said, like, would they need to tell him it's okay? Like, would he need permission from the tribe to even have it happen?
Right.
I have so many questions about that. You know what I mean?
That will never be answered. This is a guy.
Like, I don't, can't really get answers to that. So that kind of is going to eat at my brain. But this is more about the ghosts part.
We're off zombies.
So how weird is it? Well, we'll see what Bone does with this. But it's really weird that they start seeing the ghost of a white man kind of freaking out, running around, almost like he's looking for a place to hide, while the ghost of the indigenous warrior is riding around on his pony looking for him. Isn't that what it sounds like?
Yeah.
That is the part that makes me believe this the least. Like, there's thousands of Native Americans, and sometimes we see little lights. But the white guy, ooh, he's all over the place. We're not racist at all. They make pretty lights in the darkness sometimes if they get a few hundred Indians together. But one white guy did to do.
It's more the disturbed spirit that will turn into the visible ghost, though, right? Because it's like the energy of him not supposed to be there is what actually makes that a thing, right?
I'm seeing is only whites are important to talk about.
Well, I just feel like it was a peaceful place of peaceful rest, so there were no ghosts, spirits wandering. But once he was there, it made the place unrestful. And,
Got what he deserved.
But I feel like he's being hunted by the Indian on the horse.
Got what he deserved.
This is the Pacific Northwest, so no more Massachusetts accents. I think it doesn't do the story justice.
I can't pack my car and have it. Yeah,
you can't do that. Nope.
We're gonna have to go up there on the island and bury our dead people and put their bones in boxes. Yep.
It's kind of crazy. It's cool that they actually pile up the bones all together in the end. Like the whole tribe's bones end up just in a big pile together until the end of time.
So I do
thought
have to
that was
ask
very
though.
poetic.
I do have to ask though. These things come out around Halloween. Like, are the dates
just all the time?
But I'm just saying though that these stories you
these
collected,
stories, yeah.
I'm wondering, are these Halloween?
This is early October. This is October 1st and 2nd of 1885 so far. So it might be them trying to build the spirit of the season, as it were.
Yeah. That's all.
They could be recycled stories that they used last year.
No, I'm wondering.
But they're pretty much all like, none of them are straight up, this is the first paper that printed it. It's all like, hey, this paper took it from over. Like, this was South Dakota
they
paper.
did that. They borrowed these little snippets, and I found that in my own research. You come across the same giant frog story 7 times because it made it to 7 different papers across a region.
Yeah, you'll find the exact same story reprinted in a bunch of different papers if you search it right. Yeah.
So are there big frogs in this story?
That's more of a Moz episode. Didn't we do frog monsters already?
We did. That's
Giant
why I reminded you.
scabies.
Yeah.
Well, where was it?
Hermiston.
Hermiston.
They offered me a bunch of money too, and I was like,
Meh.
Still no.
Herm isn't dead. He's just not feeling well.
All right. So there's a different kind of haunting where, the actual graveyard style haunting there. A little more traditional. So for our next story, we're going to witness ourselves a bit more personal kind of ghost. And there is a trigger warning with this one. It starts in the darkest of places. So,
A gun range.
Yeah, people doing bad things to themselves.
Oh.
Put it that way.
Just real quick before you go, I'm sorry. Nothing is more personal than some crazy woman dressed in black following you around for 20 years. I'm just going to put that out there. That's the most personal. Nothing will top that.
That's true. That's why it's my new favorite ghost story. Yeah. And she's not even really a ghost. Yeah. She just followed him around like one.
But she disappeared at the end of the court hearing.
And then she just poof, gone. Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't mean that literally from the witness stand.
I read it that way.
Moz is like she just disincorporated on the witness stand. Yeah. She was just gone like a vapor. I don't think that's what they meant, Moz.
Okay, that's right. It's a Halloween episode.
I'm glad you took it that way, though. Yeah. That's awesome that you did take it that way.
That's crazy. Moz.
In the spirit of the episode, that's perfect. All right, so this next one here is under the headline, A Baltimore Ghost. Oh, this is from, I'm supposed to say this first. The headline here is from the River Falls Journal, River Falls, Wisconsin. And this is Thursday, October 29th, 1885. So just a couple days before Halloween. It means Halloween was on a Saturday in 1885.
Halloween.
A Baltimore Ghost. There was great excitement in Donohue's court some time ago, which extended around and through several adjoining blocks. Heinrich Dietmeyer committed suicide in the backyard of number 7 Donohue's court by cutting his throat from ear to ear. He was buried by the city. His brother Charles would not allow his body to be brought into the house. Heinrich's ghost came back Wednesday to tantalize his brother and nearly scared him to death. Mrs. Lizzie Drescher, who occupies the lower floor of the house number 7 Donohue's court under the Dietmeyer family, related the following story to an American reporter yesterday afternoon. Quote, I was washing in the backyard all day. I had hung my clothes out to dry in about 6 o'clock. When I went out to take them in, Charles Dietmeyer called me and said, Mrs. Drescher, You see that piece of wood? I've been trying to chop that piece of wood, but it goes up and down, and every time I think I'll try to hit it, it's on the other side of the yard, and I can't catch it. Mrs. Drescher said the man looked wild, and she advised him to go into the house. He would not go, but kept on throwing his axe around wildly at imaginary sticks of wood.
Here's Johnny.
Yeah, finally he dropped the axe and opened the door of the outhouse in the yard. Then he gave an unearthly scream. Mrs. Drescher ran towards him, and as she got near him, Dietmeier fell back, knocking her over and exclaiming, "I've seen my brother!" Mrs. Drescher, as soon as she recovered from the shock, ran to the front door and called Officer Costello. The officer... Costello? Really? The officer went in and found Dietmeier in a prostrate condition, with drops of perspiration big as grains of corn rolling down his face. I love how they wrote stuff back then. He said when he opened the door of the outhouse, he saw his brother Heinrich sitting there with his throat cut, and that Heinrich got up and grappled him by the throat and swore he would kill him for having his body buried in Potter's Field. Officer Costello said that when Charles Dietmeier regained consciousness, his hair was standing out straight from every part of his head, and that he said he would swear that he had seen his brother's ghost. An American reporter visited the scene yesterday afternoon and found the whole place bottom side up. Women were frightened, men were scared, and while there were not many who believe in ghosts, yet there was a tremor among the whole of them that they could not shake off. Charles Dietmeier, with his sister, was out yesterday looking for another house, and he said he would not stay in the house another night if he had to sleep on the ground. He's out of there. So, straight up, is this a real ghost, or is this a Crime and Punishment story where the guy is like kind of losing his mind and freaking
Telltale
himself
Heart
out?
kind of thing.
Telltale Heart, Crime and Punishment, all that sort. I guess it's Halloween. We should say the Telltale Heart. It's more apt, I guess. But you guys know about crazy people. Did this guy just like go fully like maybe schizophrenic or like losing his mind with throwing his axe at wood that wasn't there and then seeing his brother's ghost, or is he really being haunted for letting his brother be buried in Potter's Field?
Well, I've seen one irrefutable ghost that even I believe, and that was a ghost of my dog. I saw the ghost of my dog minutes after my dog was put to sleep. I should add 5 miles from where I was at the time. My friend was there. He saw it too. It was out of nowhere. We were both just kind of bummed out. We saw the ghost of the dog. I'm thinking that certain things, if somebody was all like really riled up
on their deathbed kind of thing, yeah.
Well.
Right, that the chances of a ghost showing up like right after the fact is more likely. You know, something has to be really screwed up for a ghost to be there 100 years later.
When the energy's kind of still focused on that point kind of thing.
It's like, I'm not sure where I'm supposed to go or whatever. So that part kind of makes sense, but it could be a guilty, like you were saying.
Yeah, sounds like a guilt story to me.
But it also seems
he's haunted by his guilt. It's still a form of haunting. You can be haunted by guilt.
But my first knee-jerk reaction is this never happened at all, and someone just made it up. Because it's
really? You don't think it might just be the guy? Like you don't even think the guy really thought that happened because he was kind of losing his mind and freaking himself out. It's the Telltale Heart,
What I really think is it's a fake story because it's too logical. There's a beginning, a middle, and the end, and it makes sense, so that can't be real.
I'm not used to having a full-on skeptic on the Monster Lore Tour.
I don't know what I would say either with these because, again, the 1880s is a difficult time.
Yeah,
that's far as what journalism was doing in October. I have no idea if this was the norm to just bring out your best ghost story.
Yeah, that's
a
good point.
But if they had named, like today, if we had named some of the other witnesses, that would bring credibility because they said a bunch of people were upset and a bunch of people had seen things. It's just not just Heinrich. I mean, there are people who saw this apparition other than Heinrich. Am I correct in that?
No, that's the thing.
was
Heinrich's the dead one.
I meant
Charles saw him, but
his brother.
only his brother saw him.
Yeah.
But he freaked out so hard that it freaked everyone else out.
That I believe.
That's really what it was.
I believe that.
Like he freaked out, and he totally thought he saw his brother's ghost.
He may have just lost his shit and upset the people around him.
The whole axe incident kind of bends you toward that. Like he's hallucinating wood that he's throwing an axe around out. That's not even there.
Yeah.
Real quick, I'd like to point out, you call me a skeptic, but I started my dialogue talking about the irrefutable ghost that I witnessed with a witness.
It's a sliding scale.
Yeah.
That's true, though. That's a good point there, Bone. Keep the balance. I appreciate that. Okay, so I'm one more here to finish out our 1885 straight up ghostly kind of section. Then we'll move into our 1940s poltergeist section, which I think Bone. I mentioned that earlier to Bone. That might be a good spot.
Yeah.
But one more for the 1885 ghosts. I found one for just after Halloween. And this is actually from the Hawaiian Gazette out of Honolulu, Hawaii.
Nice.
On Tuesday, November 3rd, 1885. So this is a little after Halloween.
What?
This one has the headline just... a ghost story. Simple. Amongst the other great houses whose owners... this story, I should say, is out of the UK. So it's not a Hawaii story. So once again, this is like...
Well, it's an island. That's close enough.
It's in a Hawaii paper, but the story is from like London or something. So
yeah. It just takes a long time to get there by boat.
yeah. They just wanted a ghost story, and they found a good ghost story in another paper, so they reprinted it.
Gotcha.
Seems legit.
No, that did happen. Well, we were talking about...
Let me tell the story before you poop on it.
We've perused the archives, and they do that. People just pick up on these other stories, and a bunch of papers from not anywhere near each other will rerun the same.
Did you say
story.
doo-doo?
I said doo-doo.
Poop
that proves your point.
For me to poop on.
Doo-doo.
It's true.
Can I say that? I'm not going to get sued, right?
You should cut that out.
Anywho, again, headline, a ghost story. Amongst the other great houses whose owners have lately been selling their libraries in Copey Hall near Norwich, the seat of Lord Stafford, to this same library is attached a ghost story. It kind of jumps in the middle. Some rich people are selling their library, and the library itself is haunted. It is said that it is haunted by the phantom of a priest who was chaplain to a former lord who, having heard a lady's confession, made a memorandum of it on paper and hurriedly slipped it into a volume on one of the shelves. He actually wrote down this woman's confession and hid it in a book. Wow. And as long as he lived, his search for the missing paper was fruitless. He lost it. He couldn't find it again. Since his death, every search has been made for it, and without success. But once a year, the story goes, the good priest is seen to wander late at night through the apartment to renew the quest. His white hair and black robe are seen from time to time as he ranges the house in which he once was a familiar presence. But he disappears as soon as the clock strikes midnight. And that last sentence just made Bone go, nonsense. It's nonsense.
But this is a guy...
Too specific, too much detail.
This is a library, correct?
The
library.
The collection
initially?
of books itself is haunted because the priest lost a very important thing that he wasn't supposed to.
What did I tell you on the way down here? I had a story about my library. It ate a couple of items.
Oh, that's right.
And what did it
ate your drugs.
It ate my library has a problem. I really have to get it some
His
help.
library likes to smoke a little weed.
I don't know where. Now, am I going to haunt my own library now, looking for my psilocybin?
It wouldn't surprise me if after you die, you haunt your own books.
God,
you're gonna haunt your the tarot books there.
Yeah.
Wherever they were.
No, I did. Go ahead, Bone.
The priest was looking for the lost Playboy that he had.
Well, yeah, I feel like she told him a really racy story, and he was like, I need to remember this. So he wrote it down, but
it's
then he's
a
like,
lonely night.
but then once he wrote it down, he's like, I can't have this, but I can't not have it either. So he hid it, and then he couldn't find it.
You can lose stuff in your library. I did
Oh, yeah.
a gummy and some mushrooms.
You two are trying to
He's got some trippy books, man.
This story is utter. It's cute. It's utter nonsense.
No, it really happened. I lost my gummy.
It's not even written well or interesting.
And the specific midnight thing really throws you off, too.
Dumb. Like, it's Wicked Pisahonted. This one guy who lost a piece of paper comes by once a year. Woo!
I thought Moz said no more accents.
Well, where did this happen? London? Nope, you can't do. You can do Massachusetts.
Boy, hell, he comes by once a year.
I'm gonna allow Massachusetts in a London story. I think it's close enough.
Fair.
Yeah.
It's really more Irish, which makes it better, actually.
Oh, okay.
Piss in my wicket.
Flippin' Nora.
Okay. Let's move on to our next section, which is going to involve poltergeists. All right, so now we're going to slide on down the timeline to investigate this different type of haunting with the poltergeists.
Walked on down the hole.
The mid-1900s were rife with poltergeist happenings, or at least interest in such things, being reported all over the place. So we now specifically find ourselves in 1944. Professor Bonebody's Wayback Machine.
Peabody's. Oh, Bone Bodies.
I don't want to get sued, man.
Okay.
Bone Manor, you know?
It's true. I have a couple of those.
Bone Bodies just doesn't work. I guess what I'm gonna
It was the only place I had to store the refrigerators and old microwaves to build the time machine with. So, yeah, Bone Manor is definitely the housing for the time machine.
It's just the phrase Bone Bodies that's a little, anyway.
Okay, then.
We go. We move.
So for our first poltergeist story here, we go to a story I pulled out of the Detroit Evening Times from March 5th, 1944. The headline reads, Ghost Hunter Garrett's Newest House-Wrecking Spook by Dr. Thomas L. Garrett, President Garrett Foundation for Psychological Research.
And alliteration.
This is kind of a Nandor Fodor kind of guy.
There you go.
Who wrote this for the paper.
Yep.
About one of his recent investigations, basically.
We call him Simon Peggy kind of guy today.
Yeah, there you go. But so this is like an official report from an investigator, more so than someone just telling a ghost story.
Right.
It isn't often that investigators get in on the beginning of a ghost story. Even if the haunting begins today, it is usually a week or so before reports bring investigators to the scene. And by then, testimony is so garbled that it is virtually worthless. But in Halifax, Nova Scotia, I got to the Louis Hilchey house in time to get clear first-hand accounts from the family and neighbors and authorities of a ghost story in its inception. It all started in a little college at Eastern Passage, an otherwise peaceful Halifax suburb. As if coming from nowhere, 3 deep and hollow knocks sounded through the house. Day and night since that evening of December 24th, 1943, Christmas Eve, eerie, mysterious things have been happening. Having been a student for 20 years of psychic phenomena, I was interested. When the American Weekly suggested I look into the matter, I went to the Hilchey home. After examination of the family and neighbors, I looked over the premises. I found everything normal. Taking these persons at their word, I pursued my researches. This is an honest report on my findings. At first consideration, I decided that it was a so-called poltergeist that annoyed the Hilcheys. The term poltergeist is derived from polter, a rumbling noise, or poltern, to rattle. A polterer is a boisterous fellow. A poltergeist, therefore, is a boisterous ghost. Such a ghost was mentioned in the case of Jacqueline Thomas of Windsor, Ontario, who constantly was scratched by unseen hands. Surely the manifestation in the Hilche home, as related by Mr. Hilche, his wife Ethel, his daughter Catherine, and others, indicated something strange at work. First, they reported the washing machine moved across the floor. Then a table at which Mrs. Hilche and 3 of her children were seated tipped floorward. Next, scissors on a shelf trembled and shook and edged forward. A bowl of soup levitated itself and tipped in Catherine's lap. An alarm clock hurled itself from a dresser. A kettle of boiling water raised itself from the stove and fell to the floor. A hammer flew down the stairs. More knocks and still more all over the house. One evening, Mrs. Hilche was descending the stairs when something grasped the heel of her house slipper. The heel was wrenched off by an invisible force. A day or 2 later, the same thing happened. This time, Mrs. Hilche was thrown down the stairs, breaking an ankle bone. Yikes. Investigation revealed that all the mysterious manifestations appeared to have taken place in the presence and unknown to herself cooperation of Catherine. In other words, it is a clear case of telekinesis, that is, the unexplained displacement of objects and sounds. This is very Nandor Fodor, blaming the teenage girl for the poltergeist activity. That's what he's doing right now.
He's not wrong.
The telekinetic phenomena...
Simon Pegg would never do that.
Well, he played Nandor Fodor.
Oh, yeah.
He created the concept. Nandor Fodor literally created that theory as a thing.
Yep. Which thing?
So, that the teenage girls are inadvertently causing the poltergeist.
Right. I agree.
Well, let's finish the story and then we'll talk some more. The telekinetic phenomena, unlike poltergeist manifestations, appear to be attracted to a particular person or persons. This phenomena, occurring widely and going back to remote time, suggests that it may have originated in fetishism among savages. Theories propounded by some psychic investigators to account for telekinesis phenomena are 1. That the individual involved subconsciously assists in producing all of the strange phenomena, and 2. That invisible emanations produced by unknown forces actually are peculiar to certain persons. These emanations are deduced from their manifestations to be psychic, semi-flexible rods projecting from the body of the telekinized person. Get this. The end portions being stuck sharply on floor, table, chair, or other body cause the raps or knocks.
The who did what to the what?
So I was going to say, let's break for a second. So he's saying that like the phenomena of things moving around, getting knocked off shelves, flipping over, or like just the knocks on things all over the place. Saying literally there's physical rods of energy coming out of the telekinetic person that just bang on stuff and bang into stuff. Like literal rods of energy. Literally.
Yeah.
It's a weird concept. Yes, Bone.
All right. Let's say that right now we witnessed something like that, or we knew. Is there any reason in the universe why we should assume that, let's say my scissors go flying and bang into the wall?
Sure. That
a ghost did that? Is there any, out of the limitless possibilities, it seems that ghosts would be 1%. So, like we're going to die on this hill of the 1% that it's a dead guy's spirit. I would say no.
All right, well, we have an answer to this in Monster Latour. It was done by Cicerers.
Cicerers.
Running with Cicerers is a real thing, and we want to get the
dark side. Sorcerers are Cicerers here.
Yes.
I actually.
So they have to be evil now?
No.
Oh, she's going through puberty. She must be one of them.
Oh, see,
no, I think
blame the girl.
I think that whole
happened to me when I was going through puberty, and I saw things.
What, you caused poltergeist activity?
Yeah.
And yet you don't believe in it.
Well, he believes it manifests from the person, which is...
Well, okay, you actually make it happen yourself. So you're a number 1 out of the 2 there, Bone, on the theory.
He's always number 2 in my...
Anywho. Let me finish. Let me finish reading this, and then we'll finish the conversation. The night preceding my arrival at the Hilche home, Catherine, which is the teenage girl, saw, quote, a queer-looking man's face with bushy hair appear at the window, unquote. Recently, a stray dog came to the home and took to sitting on the doorstep and howling death howls, according to Mrs. Hilche. Then more weird things happened. From the second floor, a pillow, 12 boxes of soap flakes, and other articles fell down the stairs. While I was examining Mrs. Hilche, a teapot flew off a hook in the kitchen and whisked by the head of the oldest Hilche girl, Gladys, 21. I did not see this, but heard the crash of the pot and Gladys's scream. Then one day, to Catherine's amazement, an egg jumped into the frying pan on the kitchen stove, and butter followed the egg as though propelled by unseen hands. Catherine, her mother, and sister Gladys consulted the Ouija board in search for a clue to the mystery of the strange happenings that has upset them and the neighborhood. In the United States in recent years, similar visitations have upset 2 southern communities. At Jonesville, Louisiana, Alice Bella Kirby, 13 years old, was the center of telekinetic manifestations. Then there was the Bertha Seibert case. One morning, Mr. Seibert and his mother went into Bertha's bedroom demanding that she stop her bouncing. But when she convinced them that she could not stop, they tried holding her down. The mattress continued tossing. Then all 3 got on the bed, but it kept right on bouncing just the same. Investigation of telekinetic phenomena goes on, the theory of the psychic rods, accepted as it is, but many psychic investigators require further substantiation. During my years of psychical research, I have investigated many such manifestations. Some I found to be frauds. However, others, as for example the Hilche case, appeared to be inexplicable on any other ground than some sort of psychic manifestation. All right, there you go. Again, Shadows of Nandor Fodor, who we talked about a lot in episode 26, the Alma Fielding episode.
Yeah.
It was kind of like his beginning.
Mm-hmm. And you know what Nandor Fodor said? If this bed starts a-rocking with a bunch of people on it, yeah.
Keep piling on.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Something like that.
Because you guys see how much weight it takes to stop the poltergeist from bouncing the bed.
Yeah,
or
that would have been
or
a
if
good
you
experiment.
even can. Can you even?
I had something like that happen where
this is not that kind of podcast.
Where somebody stopped talking during a seance. So I touched them. I was like, "Hey, are you okay?" They didn't say anything. And then I lifted my hand to touch them again, and their body had rotated 180 degrees, and then they started hovering across the floor, like upside down, like so, face towards the floor, and just moving across the floor. And me and another person, like, you see someone hovering across the floor like that, you're not really sure what to do. So we each grabbed a leg, and we were both dragged across the floor.
I think he talked about that in the seance episode.
Yeah.
That's a wild story, man.
Yeah.
It was a bit unnerving at the time.
I'm sure. That something pulling all 3 of you across the floor.
Right. I mean, even like, you even say like, oh, that guy was faking.
So what would you account that to?
Again,
Do you think you guys manifested that happening?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
And the embarrassing thing really is that the person who's the expert in 1944 and I now have the same philosophy. Mm-hmm. So
it's been an accepted theorem in the the parapsychology world, I guess you'd call it. But
seems more logical to me.
But they Nandor Fodor said it was probably the teenage girl because of the rage and hormone thing, and everybody's just kind of accepted that since.
Well, we saw that without any teenage girls around. So.
There you go. So it's not just that. Like there's there are certain people manifest. And like Alma Fielding, in the case of her, almost does feel like she was manifesting a lot of that because she was, trickster / manifester all at the same time.
Trickster and monster.
Yeah, there you go. But she wasn't a teenager though. She was a grown woman.
Yeah.
When that started.
I don't think it has to be limited to teenagers, but you're a teenager, your mind's open, you're smart, and then usually after that, like reality beats you up.
And the rage and hormones are a real thing.
Right. And you get removed from the primal. Unless you work really hard to stay in touch with it, it tears away. And, you start worrying about how much bread cost.
Well,
that's why we all could use a little therapy.
Yeah. But the other piece, you're reading Memories, Dreams, and Reflections right now. And, and Jung really gets into that as you read further. He's going to talk a little bit.
I haven't quite got to that point.
But it definitely not in there necessarily, but in other parts of his readings, he definitely talks about manifesting poltergeists, synchronicities and poltergeist phenomenon being, kind of linked, and it being, based again on the person. So I call Jung probably as one of the first.
It's our inner coming out kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Psyche affecting matter, matter affecting psyche. That's what Jung was on, and Louise von Franz, who took on some of his work after his life, and some of the other Jungians for sure.
I've seen irrefutable proof. I mean, 4 people looking at a mannequin, all of us 5 feet away.
This is not that kind of podcast.
Moving on its own. I mean, I've seen this happen. So, and I don't think it's ghosts. I'm just telling you.
It's like the game I did as kids. Me and all my cousins mostly, I think, for the most part. But the light as a feather, stiff as a board thing.
I was thinking of that.
Somebody lays down on their back, and everybody puts 2 fingers under them, but you surround them with people, and they just lift them up.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing, right? You're just manifesting an energy.
Right. And I think you lose it when you get older if you're not careful. I mean, most people,
it's a muscle,
everybody
you gotta
loses
flex.
it. Unless you stay on target. Now, it's like a full-time job keeping your spirituality.
Yeah.
Especially these days.
That's why we shouldn't make kids work.
There you go.
Because they're too busy maintaining their spirituality. You got to make it to adulthood with your soul still intact, at least.
Yeah.
Do with it as you will from there. But wow,
it's deep.
Yeah, poltergeist stuff goes deep. I got another one here. This one is a tale out of Scotland in 1942. So we're actually jumping back a couple of years. And this brings in the element of curses to go along with the ghost story. So again, this is actually from a Detroit Evening Times. I think it was the same paper, right? This is from July 12th, 1942. Even the British insurance company admitted the presence of ghosts in Fifeshire's weird old edifice, where a curious feud persisted beyond the grave. That's just the headline. Dateline, Edinburgh, Scotland. At last it has happened. That naughty boy of the spirit world, the poltergeist, or practical joking ghost, has turned from childish mischief to out-and-out crime. Arson. A fire insurance company of this city has just paid £400, about $1,600, to settle a claim for fires set in 20 bedrooms, a maid's room, a study, in one of Scotland's historic dining halls.
No, I remember this movie. It was Robert De Niro at the end. That's what I remember.
Backdraft. Yeah. After thorough investigation, they found the fires were not accidental and yet could not have been set by human hands. Who did it? Poltergeists, unanimously answered the learned community sent by the Edinburgh Psychic College to get to the bottom of the matter for the insurance company. Did you hear that, Bone? The insurance company sent psychic investigators.
Yeah, because they were going to make money on that deal, obviously.
I'm thinking that's a little bit of a leap.
That's pretty funny. Continuing. Read your policy, insurance companies urge their policyholders. And this company took its own advice. There were clauses exempting it from fires caused by, quote, act of God or public enemy by igniters, exciters, unquote, and many other causes, but not a word about poltergeists.
Fire their lawyer.
Because it didn't exempt poltergeists.
Wow. Wow.
So it paid the claim and tried to keep its name and all mention of the ghost crime out of the news, no doubt to prevent putting bad ideas in the minds of other spirits. The owners of a famous Scottish mansion, more than a century old, in Fifeshire, have an even better reason for not wanting its name in print. Though visitors from the next world ought to be a high honor, even greater than royalty, the real feeling is exactly the opposite. If a house gets the reputation of being haunted by ghosts, it is harder to keep it tenanted than if it were infested with rats, bats, or bedbugs. The poltergeist nuisance has been going on at the mansion for some time, ever since the death of Mr. R, the last previous tenant. This Mr. R is suspected as being in the poltergeist gang, but there are certain others in the Fifeshire cemetery against whom the case is stronger. So I think he might be the one actually haunting the place, because he used to live there.
And he never gave his last name.
Yeah. Well, I didn't give his full name yet.
Oh, just blame him.
Yeah,
right.
It's Mr. R, the gardener. I've seen this episode.
These ghostly problem children have become quite common in many countries, but especially in Scotland, where spirits of all classes have been running rampant for some years, creating a sort of spook epidemic. Bone's going to lose his mind. The Fifeshire tenants and owners were fed up on the psychic horseplay, which consisted mostly of tumbling furniture around, hiding things, and throwing small articles down dark corridors. But there is not
me with a coaster.
But there is not much one can do to these spirit pests, who cannot be punished nor apparently appeased. However, a housemaid thought it could do no harm to try exorcising the spirits by the old religious ceremony, with bell, candle, prayer, and everything. But it did a lot of harm instead, making the poltergeists angry and vicious. As if to get back at her, they dumped the maid's water pitcher on her bed. The angry spooks then proceeded to wreck the room by shaking up everything in it, including the maid. When the spooks finally stopped, the place looked like it had come only lamely through an earthquake. It is a lot of bother to dry out a mattress, but the maid outsmarted the ghosts by not keeping any more water in her room. Evidently enraged by the maid's successful defense of her bed, the poltergeists showed that they had powers, which spiritualistic lore attributed only to an entirely different breed of spirits, known as fire elementals.
With salamanders.
Spontaneous and utterly mysterious fires broke out, not only in the maid's room, but all over. The tenant naturally put in a claim for damages, but it was so vague that the company sent its hardest-headed investigator to get the matter straight and see if it was all right. He reported that he could not get it straight except for one thing. It was not all right.
Okay, then.
The fires were certainly of incendiary origin, but evidently not set by tenants, owners, nor anyone else he could suspect. There had been no sign of matches, oil, or any other of the customary clues. The tenants thought it was done by spirits, and yet they were not spiritualists. The investigator said he was no psychic detective, and suggested that one be called in. I love this story. Yeah, Moss.
Spontaneous insurance claim combustion.
There you go.
Yeah.
Money, money, money,
Money.
The company thought it a good idea and knew just where to apply for that line of service. Right in its own hometown was the Edinburgh Psychic College, which not long before had organized a special committee to investigate the epidemic of abnormal happenings in Scotland. Who are you going to call?
The Highlander. You do. That's what you do.
Headed by its chairman, Mr. J.W. Harries, the committee agreed to spend a weekend at the haunted mansion. They announced that, as usual, they were arriving with an open mind. If so, the poltergeist bunch slammed it shut in a hurry. For as fast as they left a room, there would be a terrific rumpus behind them. Rushing back, they would find most of the contents of the room piled in one corner, looking as if a mob of sympathizers in a moving man's strike had sabotaged the place. Not content with furniture tossing, the poltergeists affronted the committee with more mysterious fires, which caused the tenants to request that they go home the very next morning before they had made the spirits any matter. The committee obliged them, partly from politeness and also perhaps because they had to sleep on the hard floor due to the fact that unseen hands had soaked their beds. Water on the beds. Before departing, the committee learned all it could of the past performance of the spook pests. Most of their tricks were old stuff, such as they had found in scores of different places and read in the records of hundreds of others, as usual, without any traces of malice or destructive intentions. But beyond this, it was evident that at least one of the poltergeist mob had been a depraved ghost from the beginning, deliberately destroying pictures, bric-a-brac, and other art treasures, and now it had turned its spirit hands to arson. Suspect number 1 was Mr. R, previously mentioned, previous tenant, after whose death the trouble began. This is only circumstantial evidence, so weak that no ghost should be hanged on it, but there is more. Can you hang a ghost? Mr. R was a believer in spiritualism, though such a timid one that he invariably was silenced by the first incredulous sneer. He was heard to say on several occasions that he would come back after death and prove himself right about the existence of spirits by making his presence felt, if possible. That's a key element right there. There are those who believe he is doing that very thing now, but his best friends say he is not guilty. Such a mild, law-abiding man, in or out of the flesh, would not be so mean in his demonstrations and surely would never stoop to crime.
Don't call me Shirley.
The theory is advanced furthermore that a gentle soul like his might not have the psychic robustness to shove objects around or even tap on the wall. There's a lot to this story. Therefore, perhaps, he had called in some boisterous fellow spirits who had plenty of power but were weak in conscience. These picture the well-meaning Mr. R as standing around wringing ghostly hands and shedding unseen tears at the outrages of his obstreperous companions. Further researchers revealed that rugged individualists of sterner stuff than Mr. R had left behind them definite threats of a comeback. Just under a century ago, there died in that mansion the last member of an old family whose father had prevented him from marrying the girl he loved, and therefore, to avenge himself on his stubborn parent, he had vowed never to marry, thus ending the line. 10 years before that time, the stern old gentleman had passed into the next world, leaving a will in which was a note stating that if his son carried out the threat, his spirit would be forced to haunt the building as long as it stood. Could a spirit father force a spirit son to do that? It hardly seemed reasonable, and yet records in the village church and documents in the mansion itself brought to light 3 other and earlier cases of such father and son quarrels. In one of these, the angry son told the Lord that if he was not wanted at home, there would be plenty of time in eternity for his spirit to come back and give the family and residents no peace. Even that was not all. Deeper research showed that this great house had also been the scene of a bitter quarrel between 2 branches of the family. When only the east wing had been built, one branch laid claim to the land on which it stood, and when the ones in possession refused any compensation, a curse was laid on the place by the head of the disgruntled side of the family. Quote, "When my wife and I are both dead," he declared, "we shall return to claim our own. It may be hard and take time, but return we surely will.
Don't call me Shirley.
Moreover, we will make our presence felt so unmistakably that the residents will have no rest, making it certain that if our descendants cannot live there, nobody else will." Unquote. To this curse, the owner-cousin retorted, quote, "Go right ahead. It will not worry me what you do after you are dead. But rest assured that if you wish to keep this dispute going from the other side of the tomb, we will join you. We too may well return, if only to see that you do not take full possession. My only hope is that I will prove to be as much more than your match in the spirit as I have always been in the flesh." Unquote. That guy knows how to talk some shit, dude. That's some good shit talking. You're going to haunt the place? I'm going to haunt it harder, man.
Only reasonable person in the conversation.
Right. If these poltergeist goings-on are the result of this graveyard feud contributing down the ages, then present and future inhabitants of the house must be in the unhappy position of innocent victims of an endless, ghostly scuffle in which they are in no way concerned. Among the most extraordinary poltergeist manifestations on record were those that were reported in 1851 in the rectory of Citaville, France, when chairs, tables, a cat, a dog were thrown up to the ceiling, and a grandfather's clock danced around the room. The unusual feature of these demonstrations was that they were reputed to have occurred not only in broad open daylight, but right in front of the astonished eyes of the padre and his housekeeper. When flesh and blood boys get out of hand, breaking windows, setting fires, and robbing empty houses, the most promising suggestion is usually that they would behave better if provided with interesting but innocent activities to use up their energies. Perhaps the solution of it all is for the mediums everywhere to get after their spirit chums to build a nice recreation center in the next world, with ball teams and all that, and perhaps a ghostly Big Brother movement to keep the poltergeist boys off the street, or at least off those of this world. Bone might have lost his mind on that last paragraph there a little bit. You need to take a breath, Bone.
I'm okay.
Okay, so there's a lot in there. That's like all kinds of poltergeist lore going on. All these different places, haunted houses specifically. And this one house, I mean, what a chain of people all claiming ghostly right to the place. And does that up the chances that any of these ghosts are actually real? This place is actually haunted? Anyone?
As long as that was, it has made my response shorter. Okay. If per chance that any of that stuff was real and I was involved, it would be like game on, I'm killing you. And I would just obliterate any spirit. Like, they would be done. If you believe in that, if you believe that these things are real, you just declared war, they would be eradicated. Would fire sage bullets at them or something. It's done. We're killing them.
Dispel them to the other side of eternity.
Yeah. If anybody comes at me like that, we're sending them to the glooms. Whatever.
So Bone's reaction is, come at me, bro.
Yeah.
Well, that was also the reaction of some of the other folks who were being...
Oh, dude, that guy was great.
That cousin.
The cousin.
That guy's great. Oh, you're going to haunt it? I'm going to haunt it way harder than you are.
Yeah, that was pretty tight.
Dirty double dare you haunting, some of those things.
Yeah, just kill him before you even die, though. Why wait? Just kill him.
But this does does bring up a new question in my whole ghostly haunting lore. And I'm going to ask Bone this question because I think you're the guy. Can you because you think we manifest these things for ourselves pretty most of the time, right?
The ones that are real, yeah.
If you actually really focus yourself on, I am coming back to haunt you after I die, do you think that we can manifest ourselves back into the energetic plane like that?
Again, I think that if you could, it would be like a
short
brief
term
window.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you can do a little like tap. Like, I'm going to play the music box for my granddaughter type of thing.
Sure.
And you're gone. If there's such a thing as a ghost haunting, that would be a very rare exception.
So you don't think they can stick around for centuries or even years at all?
Well,
kind of thing. It's a temporary phase between this plane and the next.
That'd be where I put more of my money.
The other ones are more described as that looping time. They're just kind of the same event is looping over and over again and kind of burned into the image of the area. And
I think both are true at times, and you got to kind of go story by story, because I do think some of them might be that whole kind of thin place in the time loop.
Yeah, I'll give a family story of that. But I guess my sister received a phone call from my grandmother's number shortly after she passed. And that's a very common theme. It's in a Twilight Zone, a variation of that. But it wasn't my grandma in the Twilight Zone episode. I want to make that clear. But same idea. She gets a phone number. Like, it was at the time where you could actually, post where your rotary phone, and you could actually, it wasn't smartphones, but you could see who was calling.
Yeah, my father invented that.
The caller ID.
Yeah, caller ID. His father
Oh my God, his dad actually
that.
basically invented
So
caller ID.
I forgot
about that.
Your dad's the Poulter phone guy.
He has a little bit to do with it.
Yeah, he's actually invented the technology of the ghosts.
I totally forgot that. That's actually a real statement.
So my grandmother would like to thank your dad for making the technology possible that we could tell it was her number and not just because nothing happened
so that
on the
we
other
never
line.
had to answer the phone when she was calling.
The phone was answered and there was no one on the other line, but you could see who was calling, which his dad made possible.
Yeah,
and my grandmother made possible by doing something. Again, this was shortly after her passing, and I think there's something to that where there's this energy still here. And these last moments seem to kind of tie in.
But it's a very temporary
There's a lot of evidence of like, oh, this happened like 2 hours later. That never happens again for the rest of their lives.
Right.
There's a lot of...
Which
that's
actually
more probable.
Yeah.
From a philosophical bent, it actually does kind of make more sense that way, because it's like you phase out and then it's gone because you're on to the next thing.
But I'd caveat that. If grandma's a demon... that might extend the warranty a little longer.
Sure. Yeah. My favorite theory on the whole ghostly apparition thing is it's like a thin place in the time, time spectrum or whatever, and you're seeing them as a ghost, but they're also seeing you as a ghost.
Yeah,
you're just glimpsing a different point in time for that place you're in.
Right, when they rub,
someone just happened to be there.
Right, when they rub closely. The different dimensions.
Thin places. I'm big on the thin places theories.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. I think if there was such a thing as a ghost, like, I'm going to haunt this hallway, at 3:22 every Thursday, I think that there'd be certain people that could see and certain people that couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too. Some people are definitely more open to it than others, more sensitive to it, whatever.
If it's turning a key in a lock, 8 people might be able to see it. But that'd be a 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000 person that would have the ghosts like turn and look at them. It's not everybody can pierce that.
I agree. I agree with that. And one of the examples I gave somewhere along the line in this podcast or my writings, I do not know. But I'd say, like, if there's 4 people in a room, one person's seeing, one person's just getting physically nauseous, doesn't see anything. Someone else is seeing a ball of light. Someone else within the ball of light is seeing a figure. It's the same idea. It's it's back to the idea of what I'm writing about, a specter of consciousness.
Well, think about haunted rooms in hotels. Like, oh, this room is super haunted, but only one, everybody stays there all the time, but only like one person every 2 years sees something real.
Yeah, I'll give another example. I was at the Mitzpah Hotel, and I'm taking pictures right at the death room where the lady was apparently killed. And the next day, we're reviewing our footage or whatever, and we find big orbs right outside her door. Gail, the person who does, the maid, actually says, "Oh yeah, well, I'll show you my phone because I work here." She actually had a full apparition. Now, the interesting point of that is that it was in the same spot as the orb I captured.
Nice. Cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's the same door. It's in front of the door, right? Because there's actually the red room where, which we stayed in, and it's actually the wrong room. The person who was killed was in this little offshoot of the Mitzpah, the smaller room, and that's where we were getting the orbs. We're taking, because we didn't know, we did some of our research. We knew it was that corner. But we were taking pictures outside of our door, and we took some outside of this other door. The other doors where the orbs were. That's where she was killed. That's where Gail, the maid, showed us on her phone, and she was interviewed by Ghost Adventures and refused to show them that
Well, I shared that one story with you guys where, there's the haunted hotel bed and breakfast in Bisbee. People go there like, once in a while we hear a ghostly owl hoot. Mm-hmm. And then I show up and the bathroom's covered in blood.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like every time. I'm sure when people go there that every time they walk in, the bathroom isn't covered in blood.
Is this the Copper Queen? Is this the Copper Queen?
No,
Can you tell that story real quick? Like, I think you might have told it in a previous episode, but for anyone who hasn't heard it.
Is this the junk one?
Just super quick. No, we went there and the Copper Queen was booked. So at this point, this is older. This is like 1999. There wasn't as many places to stay in Bisbee. So I found out about a bed and breakfast. I am there with my girlfriend from Quincy, bro. And
Quincy? South Shore?
South Shore, bro.
I'll allow that.
Got to watch out for
those
South Shore guys.
And my daughter...
Short-term accent allowance is being granted.
My daughter, who was 12 at the time, and... I'm with two women and they say like all these rooms, you have a community bathroom. And I said, well, there's one room, the special room where they have a very small bathroom. Like, I'll take it. We go into the special room and
it's not that special.
We open the door and the sink and the toilet, everything is covered in a layer of blood.
And Katrina saw this.
Oh, yeah. I should thank you for reminding me that my daughter found it first. I'm like putting down the suitcases and everything. She's like, Dad. And we go in, everything's covered in blood. But, I'm like a punk rocker. I'm just like, well, I'll just clean the blood off. Like, I don't think like I'm going to go bug the landlord or whatever. So I just...
No gloves, just his tongue.
Oh, yeah. I clean
up...
That
was the 90s.
I clean up all the blood. And we go to sleep. And then at
Wouldn't
4 in the morning, there's this hooting howl thing. Ooh, waking me up and I can't go back to sleep because it sounds like the crazy demented owl. And then we go down for our cold scrambled eggs and whatnot for the bed and breakfast. And I'm reading about the haunted things like, oh, it's supposed to sound like an owl. I'm like, what? And I just tell the guy, well, I guess I heard that ghost because I woke up and kept me up for an hour and the bathroom was covered in blood.
So this actually ties into a story he just told me 10 days ago. I'm not sure this is the time or the place. I told you at the end he had one little thing to say.
Yeah, we can do it. We're about to go into our closing segment stories.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you what do you got?
He's got something very related.
10
days ago, you texted me and said, I just heard, it started off as an owl and it turned into some kind of like a howling cat thing.
Oh, right. The creature with no explanation.
The creature with
there you
no
go.
Explanation.
What a great title.
I don't know what that was.
Headline.
That's it. I told you it was short.
I don't know what that was.
But here's the thing.
Whoa.
Here in this house where we've had some experience with owls and skin
walkers,
potentially.
Yeah. Werewolf outside on New Year's Eve.
Yes. And he heard something in his
was
wash.
Sort of like,
whoa.
Started off as an owl, ended in cat.
Whoa.
And
what?
That's what I was telling you. I wouldn't tell you till the end.
Yeah.
He said something on the way down.
Rock?
That's the whole text. Like I only heard those 6 words or whatever. I mean,
so you didn't see anything, you just heard it?
No, I heard it. I did it a few times, and Bobby was with me, and I was like, that was a strange sound. And I'm like, yeah. And we're just like,
Is it a bobcat in heat or something?
desert shit.
No, but it wouldn't sound like an owl to start.
Yeah, that's weird.
I've heard mountain lions in heat,
bobcat.
and it's one of the scariest things I ever heard in my life.
You ever hear a bobcat?
Yeah.
It's probably similar to a mountain lion, but not quite as scary.
Yeah.
Mountain lion was the scariest thing I've ever heard.
No, I get you. But I mean, his story is good. But I'm just saying it's the same wash where I heard 5 owls and he said, you're crazy.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then he texted me. Well, actually, I said I heard 3 owls and 1 in the distance.
Right.
And he said, you're crazy. And then
I didn't say that.
No, you did. And then
New Year's, that's where the werewolf was.
and then about, I don't know the amount of time later, you actually said, I just heard 5 owls in the wash, and you texted me that. So the same wash now had 5 owls that you thought it was very odd that there would be 3 or 4. And then, yes, on New Year's Eve, we had some very strange incident where your brother, the Scully Muggle, comes in and says, there's a monster in the front yard. And you had been arguing with something in the wash moments before.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the New Year's Eve one was crazy.
So, and then I walked through the wash looking for this thing, and I have to say, I was a little apprehensive.
Yeah.
No one was with me. I don't do brave things. It must have been the New Year's cheer.
I don't do brave.
That just usually you do that. I had to go out into the wash.
Usually
I had a broom though. I had a broom to chase it off.
There you go.
But I'm just saying this is the same place, and we're having multiple little weirdness as we film. These are all within the last 6 months, right? Or year,
or the year. But
within the last
they all fit the theme of what we're working on at the time.
And they also fit the theme.
The owl thing was so beyond any of the other ones from what I saw.
But that happened in the middle of this.
But no, you're right. It does kind of loop on itself.
And he kind of said, well,
I wouldn't be surprised if something just randomly flies across this room before we're done with this episode.
Yeah, and it would be one of us, according to Carl Jung and Alex Bone and most of me.
If something throws any of my
do.
shit around this room, I'm going to kick their ass.
And on that note, here's our Ahu Guano story of the week.
Oh no, here it comes! Quick, to the batshit signal.
Okay. So I did work in the segments, but I'm doing them a little bit different because it is the Halloween Ghost Story special. So this is my one that I pulled modern day internet story. This is from BuzzFeed.com. Inexplicably bizarre stories. This one is too crazy for me and makes me question everything we consider reality. So I thought it would be good for the Ahu Guano. You ready?
Yeah.
This is just a quote from someone like saying their experience. So, quote. One time, I checked my mailbox and found a flyer for a pizza place. I was reading it while walking back to my place when all of a sudden a half-eaten piece of pizza fell from the sky and nearly hit me. I looked up bewildered and saw nothing but a very sad-looking squirrel on the roof, devastated to have dropped its dinner. I mean, how does that happen? You're reading about pizza and a squirrel drops pizza on you.
I do want to do a synchronicity episode because I have a couple of stories. I imagine you do, Alex Bone, as well. And I imagine you do, Jeremy, as well.
Oh, yeah.
We have synchronicity
They're
stories.
everywhere all the time.
And again, Jung ties that into poltergeist. Like, I think it's synchronicities first start to happen, and if it continues to not manifest or constellate, you end up with poltergeist experiences. If it's not resolved.
I'd like to remove the poltergeist from that equation. There's evidence that if you're synced up with your magical, like if you're going to say Jung, your shadow person, your inner spirit, you are more in tune with things, and that would create synchronicity. If your spirit is out of alignment, you're not going to have any synchronicity. If your spirit is in alignment and it's focused, then those things will happen.
I have I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think it might be, and we're really in the realm of speculation. But my theory is, if you're moving up, like let's say there's just chakras. Let's just use chakras for a moment.
Sure.
You're going up chakras. I think you might have synchronicities, and then poltergeist, and then maybe you see a vision of an angel, and maybe you reach some higher level. If you going down and you're really dropping, you might have synchronicities, you might have a poltergeist phenomenon, you might have then a hellhound like our friend Cisco did. Like that, these things are like guardrails and warnings at different, like Jeffrey Cohen, at the threshold of change, there's monsters. I also believe there's tricksters. And I think, but I'm not totally disagreeing with what you say. I think that's part of it. I'm not sure it is actually up and down.
The Hilchi house had the dog showed up with the death owls on the porch too. You got that dog thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you got we get an Ishta Diva. If you're moving towards some kind of higher plane, potentially you have an angelic vision. If you're moving down, you may have
Jacob's
something more
ladder stuff.
Oh, there
right.
you go.
Exactly, Jacob's ladder stuff, and then like even the owl. Back to Clellan's work, you definitely have this whole piece where owls and UFOs, which seem to be darker, but they also seem to be having very mystical experiences, and they have to be in the midst of change, and these things start to manifest. They're synchronistic, and they echo a lot of the themes we're talking about as Clellan discovered himself and made those connections. So
You got to have an open mind. Again, the hundreds of people can be in the same hotel room and not see anything.
right.
If you were worried about your car insurance payment, and you're not going to see, you have to be open to the experiences.
Yeah, you have to be there at that moment. And again, that's part of the synchronicity. You were there at that moment. You were in that right state of mind, and you had an experience. And someone next to you saw something maybe similar. Maybe someone else didn't see anything at all. Maybe someone else,
scrolling on their phone.
Yeah, that's what we always see.
Yeah.
Is that today no one's going to see anything because they're doom scrolling, which eventually will cause its own, Reddit kind of monsters, and I'm sure they'll come at some point for those people.
Sure,
and that will be a truly dark manifestation.
Just stalkers, really.
Wow, I love where you guys went with that. We're running super long, and the Scully Mulga one I have is super long, so we're going to jump straight to Wolfman Puck's.
Can I guess it was debunked?
It is, though. That's the thing.
Yes.
It's like a Scooby-Doo gets totally debunked at the end anyway.
Was it Mr. Perkin Jenkins?
It was.
There you go.
How'd you know?
I've seen a lot of Scooby-Doo, and I still hate
Maybe I'll work it in next year
Yeah.
for Halloween or something. But let's get into Wolfman Puck's Halloween headline.
Ooh.
Your entree, sir.
Smells good.
See that? It's not the culinary corner. It's just the Halloween headline. But it is dedicated to Wolfman Puck, and it will all make sense in the end why.
Because you made it happen
I did.
on Halloween. The spirits did it all in one night.
There you go. But this headline
We've been
is...
Scrooged.
where is this from? Did I write down where this is from? For some reason, I didn't write down the paper this is from, but I do have the date, October 1st, 1885, which is where our first story was from that same day.
Ooh. Full circle.
Yeah, look at that. I do like bringing things full circle.
Yep.
But this is under a headline, A Senator's Ghost Story, How Mr. Ransom of North Carolina Solved a Weird Mystery. There is an element of superstition in all mankind. In most cases, Senator Ransom of North Carolina has very clear, cogent, and practical ideas. But he lost his balance once. His house burned down. Not so very long ago. Nothing remaining but the chimneys and some charred beams around them, except a fragile stairway. The senator and his family removed to another residence a short distance from the old home and in full melancholy view of it. One night when the moon was young and feeble, the Negroes on the place, pardon my language, I'm just reading from 1885.
Gotcha.
The Negroes on the place ran affrighted to the senator and told him that they had seen ghosts walking on the top of the burned dwelling, or rather darting swiftly all about it. Their terror was genuine and did not abate when he laughed at their story and proceeded in his vivid diplomatic way to demonstrate that hobgoblins were mere projections of a disturbed and fanciful stomach. He was begged to come and see for himself. Yielding to entreaty, he stepped outside and looked toward the ruin. The long chimney stood gaunt and forlorn. The blackened rafters were discerned, cobweb-like against the misty horizon, but no sign of life or motion could be detected. Soon, however, a wild chorus of prayerful and tearful ejaculations came from the Negroes, interspersed with muffled cries of, "Look there! Look there!" The general, who had faced bullets and congressmen, no wise daunted, cast a sharp glance as directed toward the skeleton of his house. He was amazed to see white, spectral, quick-flashing phantoms chasing each other over the chimney and along the remnants of the roof. A cold chill invaded his spinal marrow, but pulling himself together, he said, "Let us all go together and find out what it is." The Negroes would not budge. Finally, the general said, "If you are too cowardly to go there, I will go by myself." The Negroes took hold of him with affectionate violence and implored him to remain. This writing is ridiculous. Disengaging himself, he stated to them that he would penetrate the mystery if he died in the attempt. He confessed afterward that his heart beat tumultuously in his breast and goose flesh grew on his backbone, but nothing could have obstructed him short of dissolution. He marched to the haunted house intrepidly, but with more misgivings than he had ever experienced when receiving the onset of mortal foemen in the ranks of war. The apparitions continued to scamper about and appeared to assume gigantic proportions. He resembled Booth's Hamlet and all the weird stories of his boyhood with startling perspicacity. He began to see all his sins in their processional enormity. God never before seemed so majestic, in virtue so real and attractive. Finally, with big beads of sweat on his brow and his brain in a whirl, he reached a spot very close to the spectral house and awaited further developments. All was still. He picked up a stone and sent it crashing among the splinters of the roof. Then there was a mighty rush of most substantial figures, and down from the giddy eminence poured a column of goats, led by a venerable and ill-smelling Billy. There was an instantaneous reaction upon the general's part, and he laughed until his sides ached. Going back to the terrified gentlemen of African descent, he called them boisterously upon their ridiculous fears and abject cravenness, racist, ending with the injunction that when they started any more ghosts, to give him the contract of dispersing them, as he was, quote, born untenable to fear, and would eat the witch of Endor, who we mentioned earlier, on toast if parboiled and well flavored, unquote.
So this was debunked because it was some billy goats that had jumped onto the roof?
Which is why it's Wolfman Pucks.
Ah.
Because you know what they had for dinner that night?
Let's go. Goat chops.
Barbecued goat.
There you go.
Yeah. And now this brings me around to remember the beer I opened on the break?
Ooh.
Where did I put that can?
I drank that.
It has a goat on it.
Oh, I saw it.
Shooting laser beams out of its
It has
eyes
like
and
a
wearing
party
a party
hat.
hat.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because he's about to get cooked. Because he's our Wolfman Pucks
Wow.
Cryptic Culinary
So
Corner
synchronicities.
feast. We're going to eat goat.
I was there when you picked
Yeah.
that out, like moments before we started recording. So it tied into what one of
There
your
it
stories.
is. And you know what the beer is called? It's from No Boat Brewing Company.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Voidbringer Doppelbock.
Ooh.
But yeah, look, it's a goat with the sun or moon rising behind it. That's
Shooting
one of the
lasers.
goats from the roof that we're now going to eat, and we're going to drink
So-
the beer with the goat on the label, with the goat from the label.
It's not sharks with friggin' lasers coming out of its eyes.
It's a goat.
Fun fact, while we were telling the story, my mind went to, because I had said Scrooged, I made a stupid joke. When I saw things running around the roof, I was thinking of reindeer. I
there you
really
go.
was. I was like, wow, this is coming back to Scrooged.
If it was a Christmas special,
well,
instead
it's
of a
Halloween, so it's got to be a little Baphomet-y, you know what I mean? This is pre-Christmas
There you
period,
go.
you know? But no, that's a funny one. And give him some credit for marching on.
what do
Go
you
ahead.
think, Bone?
Bone doesn't. He's never buying.
The funny
these
part is-
he doesn't like. You would not have liked the 1870s.
It's really excellent if you can make your lies also be racist.
Yeah, it was super racist, but it was the 1880s. You
Yeah,
know, it is
you
what
know.
it is on that end.
Yeah.
What do you? That's why the Civil War.
That's a spoonful of sugared bullshit. Bless his heart.
I think we should.
Well said, Bone. Well said.
I think we'll.
It's a funny story, and the funny part is I was gonna tell the Scully Muggle one, which gets debunked at the end,
Yeah.
and then make you think that this one's gonna be real, but then
And
it gets
it's not.
also debunked. So really, it was the Scully Muggle story and the Wolfman Pucks because we got to eat at the end.
There you go.
So I covered all the bases in the end.
Yeah. I won't argue with you, but I think you just you ended it with that.
Oh, that was perfect.
That was perfect.
Thank you,
sir.
Bone.
So we appreciate having you on as always. I mean, not as always, but usually.
Almost every time.
Almost every time. We're happy that you invite us to your house so we can,
We are happy he lets us sleep here.
Yeah. Well, you're in the hammock outside with this. You're right near the skin
Walker.
wash.
Yeah.
He's-
We
your
should call it
feet-
that from now on.
You are feet away from that.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like my feet are right there,
Yeah.
and then it's the wash.
And I
You
will
guys
be
will
in the,
never
in the,
meet
in
a
the, in the guest
skeptic
bedroom.
that has had more supernatural things happen to him.
Yeah, it's
than
pretty
me.
wild.
That's what I said
So
in another.
It is a pretty wild
I
thing.
called you on that. I think.
Because like you've seen it happen, but you just believe we're making it happen to ourselves in the end, I guess.
I
Huh?
don't know. I mean,
But it's still
some of that
stuck-
Which still makes it a
skinwalker
paranormally
It's
thing.
still a
just
psyche
different
affecting
take.
matter affecting psyche.
Yeah,
It's a two-way street that still has a lot of explaining to do, as
Right.
I would say.
Like, where does that power come from?
Yeah.
And how do we use it on purpose?
And how did the people
Because I want to use it on
did
purpose.
the cartoon of Scooby-Doo forget that for how many seasons that they had? They ignored the reality.
You've got to see past Scooby Doo.
No. Scooby-Doo, late 70s, Carl Jung, 60 years earlier? I mean, well, he died.
What I'm saying.
He died 10 years maybe before Scooby-Doo started, but he did most of his great work for a long time. Like, where was Hanna-Barbera? Where were they? And why did they affect our childhood like this?
Huckleberry Hound haunts my dreams.
Why? Yeah, because it was the worst one.
And the
Scrappy. No,
the Herculoids, man, like that's the real one. If you want to go Hanna-Barbera.
No, well, but Space Ghost might be the toughest of all.
Oh, Space Ghost is crazy. Like
Yeah,
that's like
he's pretty.
if a cartoon was
badass.
ever schizophrenic, it would be Space Ghost.
Did he actually inspire Coast to Coast AM, or am I?
Space Ghost inspired Coast to Coast.
Well, I mean, around the same time.
Wow, that hurt
you know?
just to say.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, but anyhow, we got to wrap this thing up. This thing's getting crazy.
I'm getting hungry.
All right, Bone's hungry, so let's go make him some dinner for Wolfman Puck. But all right, thanks everybody for joining us for this 91st episode of the podcast, our first real official Halloween special.
Yeah.
And all kinds of ghosts all over the place. Anything to add to subvert before we go, Moz? I have to ask.
Next year, we're going to kick ass on Arbor Day. If this is how good we've gotten on Halloween in only 3 years, Arbor Day next year, it's going to scare the bejesus out of you.
I'm looking forward to what you come up with because we already did the tree monsters.
Yeah.
And I would just like to say,
Monster Lore Tour Podcast.
remember, Swamp Man doesn't like sunlight.
Shut up!